everyone. Welcome to another edition of Stay Real Informed. Today we're going to be answering a question we're getting a lot from buyers across the state of Massachusetts. How can I really compete in today's market? The reason the market is so difficult for buyers right now is because mortgage rates are still at historical lows. They may creep up over the course of the year, but they're still very, very low. And inventory is at almost all-time lows. Normally 6 months has gone down to 3, maybe to 1. In some markets, less than 0.7 month inventory. Basically all means there's not as many houses to go around. So if you want to compete as a buyer, you have to have your act together and be ready. So let's talk about the 5 things you really should be prepared to do to get ready to be a strong buyer in today's market. The first one is knowledge. You want to know your market. What towns are you going in, willing to move to? What neighborhoods in the particular town? Drive around the neighborhoods, take a look at the places. It might not be easy to just take your time and see a lot of open houses. Don't expect to have weeks and weeks to pick houses because they're not on the market that long. But what I want you to do is to really know where you'd like to live, where you wouldn't like to live. Think about what's important to you. Is it access to the school system? Is it access to shopping? Is it access to parks? Do you care about, you want to be on the north, south, east, west side of town, etc. Make sure that you feel comfortable knowing that, because knowledge is power. The next thing is to really think carefully about your needs and wants. How many bedrooms do you have to have? How many bathrooms do you have to have? How much space do you have to have? There's things that are, nice to have, and we can dream big. And then there's things that you really must have that you can't negotiate on. That'll help you from making a wrong decision and putting a strong bid on a house that doesn't really quite meet your needs. So take a look at your needs, your must-haves, and then your wants. Obviously, we'd like to get as close as we can to everything, but in this market, you have to be realistic. On the financial situation, you have to think very clearly and understand, with the help of a mortgage broker or your bank, what you can afford. You should have a pre-approval letter for this maximum amount that you can afford. And don't forget, when you're looking at houses, it's not just the down payment, but there could be 2 other expenses that come up. One is a little bit unusual in today's market. It's maybe making up the difference between what a property appraises at and what the bank is willing to give you. In other words, because prices are being bid up a little bit, it may be that the bank is not willing to give you the mortgage for the full amount, and in that case you'd have to come up with more cash in terms of a down payment to make up that difference and keep the ratios working for both you, the buyer, and the bank as a lender. So you may need a little extra cash, a little more than what you think. So think about that, talk about that with your mortgage professional. Second, you also want to think about renovations. If you buy a home that has good bones, good architecture, meets your needs, but maybe it needs a new furnace or a new HVAC system or a new roof or a combination of many things, don't forget to include that in your budget. Some renovations you can put off for a while, some you can't. So you don't want to get into your house and not be able to really comfortably afford the renovations that are needed. It's another time to think about must-haves and nice-to-haves. Something like heat is typically a must-have. Renovating a bathroom or a kitchen could arguably be a nice-to-have, and you can do that a little bit later on. Fourth thing, I guess, is going to be inspection. A lot of people ask, should I have an inspection or not? As a professional licensed realtor, we're generally always going to recommend that you do everything you can to reduce your risk, and that would include having an inspection. And that can be your normal inspection. It could also include things like checking for radon and lead paint and mold, etc. I will say, in today's market, there are some buyers that are coming in and waiving the inspection. Does that put them in a more competitive situation over you if you would ask for an inspection? Yeah, it does, because it's one less reason that makes sellers nervous about your backing out of a deal. If someone does an inspection and they find one or two or three things, sometimes in a more of a buyer's market, they'll use that to negotiate the price down or to back out of the deal, and then the seller has to start from scratch. You want to think very carefully about this topic and balance the strength of your offer with the comfort that you'll have in making sure that you don't buy a house that could have problems that you don't know about. Some inspection companies are actually doing something new. They're doing an inspection consultation. So instead of a full 2 or 4 hour inspection that they do in the 10-day period after you sign and get an offer accepted, you may be able to bring in an inspector for an hour consultation, maybe even before you make an offer on a house. So check with your inspection agency if they offer that service, and maybe that's a compromise that will give you some comfort level in making sure the house is safe and sound and you're not overlooking anything major. The last thing is just speed. Again, this is not a market where you think about things for weeks and months. You really have to be ready to, if a house goes on the market, you should probably see it within 3 days. Maybe up to the weekend if they still have the open house, because houses are going off the market quickly. There are places that are getting 20 to 100 showings in a matter of days. They're getting some percentage of those in terms of offers. Maybe it's anywhere from 1 to 20 offers. If the offer comes in and it's good enough, they may not have that open house over the weekend. And so you really need to act fast. And when you do see a house you like, make sure you have all the other top 4 things that we just talked about ready, and be ready to make an offer quick. Work with your professional licensed realtor to make sure that you've got a check ready for the deposit and you know what the terms and conditions are and you're ready to make that offer. So good luck. You can still get great houses and get fair deals in today's market, but it is a little more competitive, and I want you to stay real informed. So thanks. Please subscribe. I look forward to talking to you soon.